Oh, you know what time it is, Luke? It is March, baby. The madness is here,
Best
and
time of the year.
and man, it is just one of the best times of the year, honestly. Like it's very close. It's a close second behind Christmas. I'll say that. But welcome to Houston Sports Talk. Colin Neal, Luke Scott. Oh man, it's gonna be an interesting next week or so for Sam Houston sports. Luke, Sam Houston women's and men's basketball are often going to Huntsville, Alabama for the conference tournament. Baseball looks like they're starting to get things a little bit together. There's still a long way to go for that season. And softball, they just took their first Conference USA series over the weekend against Western Kentucky. Uh, so things are starting to ramp up. Crossover season's almost over, but there's still plenty of Bearcat sports to play here.
Yeah, plenty to come around, but I think this next 2 week stretch is probably my favorite when it comes to just pure sports. Um, really, in I think in the calendar year, bowl season's great. Um, kind of the playoffs for me is Stanley Cup, and then also World Series is also pretty good. Um, but conference tournament week, rolling into the first week of the dance, the in March Madness, man, it's by far I think the best 2 week stretch in our calendar year in sports, and hoping it gets off to a good start here with Sam Houston. But yeah, plenty of sports is still to come, and plenty of episodes still to come. But we got a really busy next few weeks for us.
Oh yeah, yes we do. Let's go ahead and get ladies first. Let's get women's basketball going first. They end their season though on a very sour note. They lost UTEP in New Mexico State. Uh, I mean, Nyla Iman has continued to score really well. It's just that Luke, they went on that tremendous run where they on that great win streak in the middle of conference season. And then all of a sudden they just went. It's like they got sent back down like to reality a little bit. It's because they went up against these teams and they just figured it seems like that the teams just knew exactly what to do against these teams, and it's just the same story. They get off to a good start defensively, offensively sometimes as well, and then as the game drags on, it gets closer or it gets out of hand. And I mean, everyone makes it in the conference tournament, so everyone starts 0-0, but it just seems like some adjustments still need to happen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Sam Houston might not have it in the cards this year on the women's side to maybe make a run. Um, didn't close out the season particularly well, as you said. It's kind of the polar opposite of the guys, right? The guys kind of came down the stretch and started to kind of pick it up a little bit. Um, but on the on the women's side, they just kind of fell apart there at the end, and it's kind of been the same story all year. Going to this last game where they start off, in that first quarter and they look all right, and then it just kind of takes a dip, in the second and then going into halftime, and it was a very similar story that we've seen all year. I thought we were the better team at the second half or after halftime in the second half, but in the second quarter it was just too much to overcome. Got outscored by um, quite a bit, and just couldn't really pick it up. But you got to put all those things in the past behind you for this conference tournament because you're right. You are 0-0, and your record doesn't really mean anything now. You're playing Jacksonville State, who's one of the better teams in the conference, right? I don't know. I think it'll be pretty washed to the end on the women's side, but we'll see if we can make a run.
I think Jack State's a team that Sam Houston can beat. I mean, the thing is, though, you end on a five-game losing streak when you won four of five at in the better part of February, and then it kind of floundered a little bit at the end. I mean, you had a close one against UTEP, a 1 point loss, 65-64, and then New Mexico State, who's my dark New Mexico State's kind of my dark horse for Conference USA. Uh, you lost that one at Las Cruces 64-56. Again, just Nyla Inman just do you Inman, excuse me, is doing her thing. Deborah Ogayemi, that was a good portal pickup. It's just that well, the problem with Sam is that they lack size when height wise underneath, and you can tell every time teams go out there, they always just attack the paint constantly. I mean, that's just kind of basic stuff right there. You know, if you have the height advantage underneath, just keep going down in there, put that ball off the glass on the backboard, and just put it in. I mean, and when it comes and that transition defense still needs some work, especially on that fast break, because they turn the ball over very easily on offense sometimes, and that transition defense is lacking once they're trying to get back.
Yeah, and part of myself, I confused Jacksonville State with Western Kentucky there when I was thinking about it. But yeah, and another thing that Sam Houston really struggles with, like you said, the turnovers, but shooting the ball. I mean, it's been the same story throughout the year. If you don't shoot the ball well and you're turning the ball over a lot, those things don't go well together, and that's kind of been the story of the past month, right? It was a good February going into March, and then it all kind of fell apart there.
Yeah,
So I don't know, Colin. It's tough to say because if we have a couple more wins, you're probably looking at maybe being the fifth or sixth team in the tournament, and instead, you're going to the bottom three. So it's slim margins, but when you're in as good of a league as Conference USA, and the top teams are still so really good, yeah, you just can't afford as many losses as we had this year.
yeah. Well, Middle Tennessee is obviously the favorite as they always are. You know, they made the tournament last year, got past the first round, only losing to the at the time previous national champions, the LSU Tigers, in last year's tournament. It's Western Kentucky's pretty decent. FIU's really good. Liberty, don't discount them. They're good as well. I mean, I think Liberty is going to probably be the conference tournament champions. I wouldn't discount Middle Tennessee because of the history there with Rick and Soul and the players that they have in Murfreesboro. It's gonna again Jack State 11:30 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday, March 11th, to begin the Conference USA tournament for women's basketball. If you were to give a prediction, Luke, right now, what would you say the run's like for women's basketball?
I think it's probably one and done. I feel like Sam Houston coming into this just has not been playing their best ball that they can, and yeah, I don't know if they're able to turn it around. And if they're able to get past Jack State, I don't see them getting past going much further um, in the tournament. Like I said, I think it's going to be kind of a wash, and um, you hate to be kind of the guy to pick the favorite, but I think you're right. Picking Middle Tennessee. I think by far they're probably the better team. Like you said, the history, the coaching, they understand what this tournament is, and they know what it takes to win it as they've won it uh, nearly every year imaginable, like you could think of, really. Middle Tennessee is a really good team, and as far as Sam Houston, I don't see us going very far at all.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, if you haven't subscribed already, why haven't you? Hit that subscribe button today and subscribe to Sammy Says Sports Talk. 229 subs. Thank you all very much. We're trying to get a little closer to that 250 sub mark as the athletic year starts to wind down. Start getting that time of year where things are starting to wind down. And then it's summer, and then we have to wait till football starts. But let's go ahead and go to the guys' side. They had that. So they started that 3 game homestand on a very bad note. 90-66 loss to Louisiana Tech, their largest loss in conference play since joining Conference USA. Probably one of the largest losses at home in history, really. And but then they took care of business against UTEP in a very close game, and then they took care of business against UTEP in not UTEP, New Mexico State, in a nice fun game. So they're on a they're on a bit of a good run going into Huntsville, Alabama themselves, and they'll be facing UTEP to begin the Conference USA tournament, which kind of scares me. I'll get to that in a little bit, but Luke, you gotta say, for where the team started, from other things that happened, you really can't ask for much more, honestly.
No, it was just a tough season for the guys, kind of like the girls. Just kind of got off to a tough start, losing some players early, and um, as good of a conference as Conference USA was, um, winning on the road was really tough. And I think later down in the year, really the past month, we were able to pick up some really quality wins and showcase that there's still some left in the tank for this team. And really, it's all come down to Lamar Wilkerson. I mean, he's been a really good player for us. I think he might still have a shot to maybe win Conference Player of the Year. Um, the guy was just inevitable down the stretch, and these tournaments, coming up where one guy can really take you far. I mean, look at Pepperdine right now. You were texting me last night about them in the WCC. A long shot to win or to win the tournament there, as they still have to go through St. Mary's and Gonzaga. But if Lamar Wilkerson can go off for 30, for the next few games, uh, you think Hoofner can help you out. Boykin. The tough thing about us is that we don't really have a bench, uh, really because of injury and just lack of experience. I don't know. They're just not very deep. Um, but we'll see. We'll see. They closed out the game really well against New Mexico State. It got a little squirrely there in the second, but uh, down the stretch, really, played well. And you're right, UTEP is a little scary. Is a little bit of a scary matchup for us, but because of the history there. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm rather bullish on this team.
Yeah, well, it's just hard for me to it's hard for me to get really optimistic when like you just mentioned UTEP, led by head coach Joe Golding, who led Abilene Christian all those years ago to a NCAA tournament in where they beat Texas. You know why? Because I mean they beat us last year, but here's the thing, Luke. Tournament ball is a much different animal than regular season ball. Tournament ball is a whole sprint. The season is a whole marathon. And I I mean if Sam Houston can beat UTEP and make a nice run, that'd be awesome. You know why? Because that gives Coach Mudge some nice experience as the head guy to in order like okay, this is some things I need to do in order to advance in a tournament and then build that success off of hopefully a run to the dance sometime in the future. That's kind of
Oh,
where
you,
I'm at.
you cut you cut off there.
Oh no, it's all good. I'm just saying like his experience. Like I'm hoping that he gets the experience he needs this year to not only get to the dance like sometime in the future, maybe this year, but at least sometime in the future.
Yeah, you're right. And when you talk about tournament ball being way different than the regular season, it really is. You get a little bit of that at the very beginning of the year when teams go play, wherever, like in Fort Myers, like we played earlier. We played out in was it North Carolina earlier
Yeah.
this year.
Yep.
It is different. It is different, and that was kind of always the struggle with Coach Hooten under our program was we were getting very consistent finishes in the Southland and the WAC, and then things would just kind of fall apart at the end. Um, it was a lot of losing championship and losing in semifinal games when we were probably with the way better team. Going into the tournament, and that is where a huge edge there goes to UTEP with Coach Golden, but this is also the same year that came in. This is also the same team that came into this tournament last year, going up against UTEP, right in the semifinal, and did get beat. So maybe there's a little bit of that revenge factor. Maybe that's that big game feel for these guys that went through that pain last year, and are maybe able to come out on top this time around. It's a lot. There's a few the same guys on the same Houston team. Played a lot of minutes, right, and played a lot of minutes against UTEP last year in that same game in this same place. So we'll see. We'll see. I think Sam Houston can pull this one out just because of how great Lamar Wilkerson has been um, in the past few days, few games. So I think I would take Sam Houston against UTEP.
Yeah, and kind of another thing, it's you one other thing that the people have to keep to really look for is that due to the JUCO rule, the Pavia ruling, Lamar Wilkerson will get an extra year along with Khalifa Sacco. I think Josiah Hammonds also gets an extra year. All really short and simple, Luke. I hope people realize this is going. I mean, this is probably going to be the last time we see Lamar Wilkerson in the Bearcat uniform. He will probably go get paid somewhere, and I don't blame him, Luke. I mean, look what he's done this year. I mean, he's
Yeah,
broke all sorts of records. Became the first Bearcat to score at least to make at least 100 3 pointers in the season. He's climbing up that. He's top three all time, I believe, now in all time career points. He is on track to become the first Bearcat in the Division One era to average at least 20 points per game. He scored 30. Scored 32 against New Mexico State, first time in almost like a little over 3 years since 2021 with Savion Flagg when he faced Nebraska in November of 2021 in that season. I mean, right now it's I mean, you want to win, but also I just want to just appreciate uh, how much of Lamar Wilkerson we're gonna have left because, uh, I mean, I hate to say it, but there's just a likely possibility due to that uh, Pavia ruling that he gets that extra year of JUCO, which I heard he will be getting, and that he's going somewhere else to get paid. And do I blame him? Absolutely not.
yeah, I don't blame him either. He's been here for what 3 years now.
Yep.
He's done a lot of good things for us and helped us win a lot of games. And capping off his career at Sam Houston with a little tournament run would be something special. So, um, yeah, it's interesting that he has another year. The Pavia ruling has been, I don't know, I probably disagree with it a little bit, but it is what it is. If a guy wants to play 7 years of college basketball or college football, I guess he can. I don't know. Um, which is funny because we actually both saw Diego Pavia in person, which was pretty cool too. But um, Colin, who do you like in this Conference USA tournament?
Um, it's easy to say Liberty, Jack State. I mean, Liberty just seems like the team that should win it. I mean, they've been having those kind of expectations for some time now. Jack State's just, I mean, Jack State really just, I feel like only has one guy. UTEP is dangerous mainly because not just of Joe Golding, but they also have some really good bench players. They have like two offensive linemen on their bench. I think that's illegal. You should not have two offensive linemen on your freaking roster. But yeah, just kidding. But the would say I'm gonna go with I'm just gonna go with the safe pick on this one. I'm gonna go Liberty, but I wouldn't be surprised if Western Kentucky somehow or not Western Louisiana Tech. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a run for it.
Yeah, yeah, it kind of feels a little more wide open. This one, I to me, I just feel like Liberty probably is the best team and probably should win it. And you're right to pick them, but like if you look at the seeding, 2 through 6, kind of feels like it could be any of those teams. I mean, really.
Oh,
I don't
don't
know if you gave me the chance to take Liberty against the field, I'd probably take the field, but
I will
I don't
say
know.
I discount not Louisiana Tech, Middle Tennessee. They're dangerous. They're very dangerous. They look more complete. Did they have a great year in conference play? Absolutely not, but they feel like a little bit more of a complete team than a lot of the other teams in the field.
Does Middle Tennessee sweep both?
Oh man, it's March, baby. That's all I gotta say. It's March.
I'll take, I'll take a little tournament run. I'm gonna take an upset. I'll go Kennesaw State.
Ooh, okay. With
I'll take Kennesaw State.
Adrian Woolley. Okay, first year Owls. Okay, respect it.
I just say that. I say that because if you look at the bracket, Colin, they're going up against Coach Hooten, New Mexico State. He can't win the big game in the tournament. So we're fading. We're fading Coach Hooten, our old brethren, and I think they beat Liberty or well, no. Sam Houston will get there, and then they'll take down Sam Houston maybe. But I don't know. I'd go with someone outside the realm of the favorites.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, but I hope we of course deep down want Sam Houston to be the ones that lift up that trophy and go to the dance, of course. But the key really is going to be for them to get, for Sam, the main key is that the starting five continues to do what they do, but that bench needs to step up. I mean, I'm looking at Jackson Ford, Brendan Burns, uh, and Check Njai in particular. Those are the three that need to step up off the bench, and well, it all starts 11:30 a.m. Or not 11:30 a.m. 5:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Sam Houston versus UTEP to begin the Conference USA tournament. So gonna be fun. Gonna be exciting. Lots of college basketball this week. Lots and lots. Championship week is
March
here.
March 11th. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. One more quick thing. If what kind of seeding you think the Conference USA would look at? Because I think the metrics for Conference USA is actually really good comparative to most of the mid majors. Now, if it is, let's say if it's someone other than Liberty or Jack State, right? So someone other than the 1 or 2 seed, what do you think the seeding would kind of be for the tournament? What do you think they'd be? I've seen projections as like Liberty being at 12, but I also see like if it's not Liberty or Jack State, it's one of someone else. How far would they go down? And additional question: if Sam Houston tour make a run and win the conference tournament, what seed would they be, Colin?
I'd say either seeing how tough the conference is and seeing how Ken Palm likes it, likes the conference and a bunch of other um, outlets do. I mean, if you look at it, the Conference USA is a top 10 basketball conference in the country, according to a lot of outlets, metrics, analysts, and all that. So, but if Sam Houston were to win it, I would say they'd be a 14 or 15. Maybe more
Yeah,
like
I was thinking 15.
maybe a 14 if I want to be optimistic, but you know, but if a favorite like Liberty or Jack State goes on and wins it, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up as a 12 or 13.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Do you think any of these teams could make a run in March?
maybe Liberty, maybe they seem to just have
Mm.
they just seem to have more players at their disposal. So like
Yeah,
more,
Liberty's deep. They're
yeah,
really deep.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. And I think bench is going to be really big, and they also shoot the three ball really well. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. Let's go ahead and go to baseball real quick. They went 0-3 at the Frisco Classic. They got the win at UTA, but then they unfortunately get swept on the road in Norman by number 13 Oklahoma. One of the best pitching staffs in the country. Their Friday guy's a first round pick, no freaking doubt. Like my gosh, that guy was just disgusting. Struck out 10 Bearcats in a row. But Luke, the thing is, they played this ever since that Kansas State game where they got absolutely, you know, obliterated. They've been playing these top teams pretty close, and it feels like that this team's starting to come together just a little bit. Now again, I'm not really expecting this team to make a run to the regionals or whatever because this is not the year for it. We kind of hinted at this before, that this year is probably not going to be a typical Sam Houston baseball season. But man, um, I mean, I'm excited for 2026. I mean, not to look too far ahead of myself with how what I like out of the offense and all that. It's just the pitching as a whole, Luke. That bullpen, especially, there's still a lot of kinks to work around it. Now, it's a tough job for Sirianni to try to see what guys he wants to throw around. I still think he's trying to figure it out exactly, but you know, overall, I'm not too mad about the guys getting swept against the number 13 team in the country.
Yeah, yeah. It's still kind of that same story, giving up a lot of runs in half innings, right? I mean, it's the 3 or 4 run innings that kind of kill you. Um, going into it. But you're right. I mean, ever since that K State game, played LSU really tough. Lost 12-8, but came on strong there late and really gave LSU some a game. In Oklahoma, you're right, Colin. I mean, we played as well I think as we could have. It's tough going up there to Norman and tasked to beat the number 13 team in the country. They played well. The bats, are still there. You still see Sam Houston being able to hit and being able to score runs and bunches. Um, you're right though. It's the pitching and it's that bullpen, which it's an ultra tough job, especially with all the turnover from last year to this year, and Austin of prospects worldwide that we had on a few episodes ago, I think. And we kind of talked about it. He said it's going to be tough to replace all the things that are coming in and then left. Right? It's a tough job, and you're right. Sirianni still hasn't really figured out of what he wants to do. I think he's getting there closely. But hopefully, you can go into this matchup with Baylor. Um, taking the positives as where you can from this past series, and then you come home to Huntsville to play a couple games there and a stretch against Abilene Christian. So
Oh, they
I think there's enough to take positive to try to build some momentum, but 3-12 doesn't look very good though.
it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. Fair game, for the history of the baseball program as a whole. I just think I just think this year is just gonna go down as an extreme outlier when people look back on this season. Like you said, you got Baylor. You're going to Waco on Tuesday to finally end a long road trip. I mean, Luke, they've been on the road for a long time. They were at the Frisco Classic starting February 28th to March 2nd. Then I heard they came back home, and then they went on the road again to UTA, bust again to Norman, and then they're going down to Baylor and Waco. So I'm sure they bust down that way, and then now they're gonna finally come back home, probably that night, and then get ready for Houston, and then like you said, ACU, and then next week they finished that Don Sanders Cup series already early in the year, and then they began the conference play against Louisiana Tech. It's it's there's like I said, there's still plenty of games to go. Like we're not even a quarter of the way there yet. And I think with guys like Jace Martinez, well, let me backtrack. I think the key this year for me is to see how certain guys develop. I'm talking about guys like Jace Martinez, Ryan Frandon, Sam Lee, Blake Brown, um, pitching staff wise, Ryan Peterson, and a couple of other guys. And Parker Blackman, who has been absolutely phenomenal for Sam Houston.
Yeah,
I just think that again, this year is going to be this year is just a year of several silver linings. And I will say, one of the best decisions this year is has been moving Autry to left field to provide more flexibility, so that way you put Addison Smith at a less taxing position at second, and then have Ryan Frandon play first base, where he's been playing absolutely unbelievable there as well. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this team, and just kind of waiting to see what happens come the rest of the way.
yeah. I think you take from what you can get this year and build onto it. I think that middle infield, if Smith and Martinez stay together next year, right? Going into their, I guess that would be their junior year here at Sam Houston. That could really be one of the best, uh, middle infields in the country. I think. I mean, they have that. I think they have that potential, both defensively and offensively. I think they could be like that. It, that's forecasting for another year or so. But you're right. It's a lot of take what you can get this year and build and see what you can do with an undermanned team and a team that's not expected to do that much. Uh, but there's also some guys on this team that I think could also heat up down the stretch and maybe get hot. But at the end of the day, it does come down to pitching, and that's really where all the concerns lie.
I think I like to think this year, Jay's kind of taking this year to think like, okay, and apologies for my voice. I've not been feeling the best over the past few days. Um, I'd like to think Jay's looking at this team and he's thinking like, what kind of okay, who out of these guys I know I can at least have on for next year? Because here's the thing, Luke, they're gonna hit the portal hard again when the end of the season comes, and they're gonna be looking at
Yeah.
arms to get. Now I don't know what they got going on when it comes to arms they got coming out of the recruiting. But I think that they're gonna have to hit this. They're gonna hit the portal hard once again, and they're gonna try to find some experienced guys. And then next year we'll see what happens. I don't think the offense is in any doubt. I think it's just that pitching as a whole. I mean, at the end of the day, you see these great teams come through. They usually have really good pitching staffs, and the ones that go
Yeah.
on to win in Omaha, especially.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the story how it is in the major leagues too, right? I mean, very seldom do you see a story like the Texas Rangers from a few years ago just to hit their way into a championship, right? A lot of times you have to have a top tier pitching rotation and bullpen, the whole ordeal on that side of the ball. You have to have a good staff there, and you're right. I think we'll definitely hit the portal and it would be interesting to see. I feel like they might go after some older guys to try to get a little bit more veteran leadership, that type, fifth year type guys. But I don't know. Sirianni always has something up his sleeve, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, to end it off real quick, Let's talk about softball. They began conference play on a high note. They lost 7-2 against the or not 7-2, excuse me. That was I believe that's another one, but they lost pretty badly on Friday, and you know it was just a matter of fact of can they find offense outside of Bella Perez and Brody Quinlan, because those two have been really like the offense for the Sam Houston team over the past few weeks. Yeah, they lost badly in a very heartbreaking way. 9-5, 12 innings on Friday. That Luke, if you want perspective, baseball ended before softball did. That's usually not the case on Friday nights. But they came back. They won 8-4 the next day on Saturday, and then they won a very close game Sunday, 2-0 against Western Kentucky. Kendall Daniel throwing a complete game shutout. So the softballs up. Softballs. We said that they look much better than last year, and they're starting to show it. I mean, to win the first conference USA series of the year, especially against Western Kentucky, I'll take that. And, good on them because it's tough to lose that first game of a series and then win two in a row to come back and win it. The pitching looks really good as well. I think down the road though, I think it's just gonna come down to making less mistakes. The errors have come and gone a little bit. They really need to try to make le- make don't make as much mistakes on the field as they can, because there have been cases in games where they should have won where the errors came back to bite them.
Yeah, it's that's a little bit more of a concerning type thing because errors really can add up and kill you in the end. Um, but it's been the Robinson and Brody Quinlan show all year, and they've done all they could do batting, and you've seen some other players step up and really make some big hits and some big moments. And the pitching staff has been really good, Colin. Um, you know, no doubt about it. Coming off a shutout last time, right? Wasn't it 2-0 in their last game against WKU? Young has been a stud. Abigail Young has been probably one of the best pitchers in mid-major softball. I think this year so far.
Kendall Daniel has been.
.79 ERA, 2-3. Kendall Daniels, yeah, exactly. I was fixing to say it again. They've been very good, both of them. So there's a lot to take away from the start. Swept ET Commerce and got the win against West Kentucky, and hopefully they keep it going. They looks like there's a lot of momentum with this program. It's been kind of stalled for the past few years, but right now 11-13, and uh, I think we have a very favorable schedule coming up here pretty soon. Um, I think we'll be able to get some wins coming up.
Yeah, I think so too. You got. Although I will say the the game to begin Friday, the on that Friday game, March 19th against Kennesaw State, it's a Swifty night. I'm not really a big fan of that.
Colin, you might not be a fan of it, but I assure you, most of the girls on the softball team are.
They are. I'm pretty sure they are. I'm. It's just a Swifty night. Oh man. that But yeah, I mean, you got HCU, you got Middle Tennessee, then you got SFA, and then you got Kennesaw State. The only really tough game I see the rest of the way is obviously the three-game series against Liberty, who are nationally ranked. I think Lamar is going to be a little interesting as well. And you also have number five Texas A&M. You go to their place on March 25th. So yeah, it's the softball team is amping to make that Conference USA tournament for sure this year, unlike last year. Now I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run. If the thing is, the key though, once again, well, not just outside of cleaning up on the defense, but also making sure that offense is like spread around. It can't be just one or two people. I think uh, I think somebody like Elia Hebel needs to step up. She's had a very bad start to this season, so I'm hoping as the second half rolls around, she gets that. Uh, she goes on a run where she um, can start hitting the ball hard, start putting that ball over the fence because she can hit home runs. She can hit them plenty, and she has been recently. I mean, she only got her first home run a little over a week ago of the season. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with this team. But overall, I've been very impressed watching them.
Yeah, it's been kind of the polar opposite of what we've seen the past few years with the diamond programs. Baseball has always been kind of the star of the show when it comes to that, but this year it's definitely been softball, which is good to see. Them step it up and really get off to a pretty decent start. You'd like to have a winning record, but also some of those games were kind of just out of the picture where you don't think we were going to win those games. I wish we would have beaten Stina Foston to at the very beginning of the year, but I think we might have an opportunity to get revenge on them. I think we'll win that one, and I think you're right, Colin. If you could, you take the next 5 games, right? Uh, the series against Middle Tennessee, HCU, and Stephen Foston. What do you think the record can be there? What would you take?
I mean, I'll take above 500. I think you got to go above 500 the rest of the way. Just
Yeah.
seeing how much this team has improved. I mean, 500 is fine, but seeing how this team has gotten better, you got to go above 5. I think you should go above 500 the rest of the way. It's also just the key of getting a better seeding in the conference tournament as well. So
You think we're gonna go 3-2 in the next 5?
yeah, I can see that.
Okay. I was thinking 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
I
still
think we're gonna be able to beat.
like I said, I still have some questions about the offense. Like, can the offense spread it around? But yeah, it's a little bit of a pessimistic kind of approach, but a little bit optimistic as well.
Yeah, I think we beat HCU. I think we go 2-1 against Middle Tennessee, and I think we get revenge against the Lady Jacks out there. So we'll see. I'm you might be pessimistic. I'm optimistic on this
Uh,
one, which usually it's roles are reversed on that one.
yeah, just a little bit. But well, I think that's quite enough for today. I am not feeling. I'm starting to feel a little woozy right now. I literally just took a shot of Mucinex before we got on and recorded this pod because I'm trying to get rid of these blockages that I'm feeling right now. And it's that it may be March, man, but damn, I hate this. I hate this time of year mainly because of the weather changes. Like, I don't know if you saw it, Luke, but it was literally just below 32 degrees and snowing up in Amarillo, and it was 99 degrees in freaking Brownsville. Like,
Yeah,
that's what Texas is going through right now.
it's it's weather like any other, right? But I think after we get through this stretch, I think we'll be at least for a month. Maybe we have good weather, and then it gets too hot. But
Yeah.
that's just Texas.
Yeah, well, hey, subscribe today to Sammy Sports Talk if you haven't already. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. They're in the description. As always, eat 'em up, cats. We'll see y'all next time, and let's see what women's and men's basketball can do in their run to the dance. Let's see what they can do in Huntsville, Alabama. As always, y'all take it easy and eat 'em up, cats.
Eating up cats.